I get asked all the time what I think the major differences are between these cameras. The 5DS or 5DSR and the 5D Mark IV. The 5DSR and 5DS models, really their big impact and their big contribution into what they can give to photographers is that high resolution. If you need very large prints, very smooth tonal gradations, then this is the camera you need to be looking at. The difference between the 5DS and the 5DSR is that the 5DS still has the traditional anti-alias filter enabled, but the 5DSR has got that filter still in place, but it is counteracted additionally within camera to give you crisper, sharper images than you would have with the anti-alias filter enabled. The 5D Mark IV does have the anti-alias filter, and it being lower resolution as well makes a difference in terms of how much cropping you can do or what size, but it's still a high-res camera. It's a 30 megapixel camera. It's plenty for almost all situations. The big advantage of this camera is the fact that the autofocus on this camera, in my opinion, is second to none. I'll give you a quick example. About a year and a half ago, I was shooting an event in a castle in County Galway, and it was really, really dark. And I was shooting live view, being able to touch focus and shoot immediately in near dark while using live view was a phenomenal feature. This camera autofocus can function down to -3 EV, whereas this one can focus down to -2 EV. So there's about a stop of a difference as to how dark you can be and still get really good autofocus. The 5DS and 5DSR can shoot up to 5 frames per second, and the 5D Mark IV can shoot up to 7 frames per second. It's quite a difference. If you think about it, it's about 40% increase in frame rate. So if you are shooting fast-moving objects, or a good example is birds in flight, the more frames you can add to birds in flight, the more different wing positions you're going to get. One of the features I really like in the 5D Mark IV is the Wi-Fi and the ability to be able to use the Canon Camera Connect app and control your camera from the phone or transfer images back and forward, or also to be able to even upload images immediately via the web services to your social media. That is invaluable and massively helps to speed up your workflow. It also has GPS so that for organizing your images, and again, which really helps with the workflow, being able to tag your images with geolocation is invaluable. Something that I don't use as much, but I've played around with it and used it a little bit, but because I'm using both cameras in tandem, the 5DSR doesn't have touchscreen. It also doesn't have Wi-Fi or GPS, but it doesn't have the touchscreen. The 5D Mark IV has a really cool touchscreen feature. These cameras deliver for the vast majority of what I need from a stills photographer point of view on a day-to-day basis. But I would need to do some video, especially for corporate or commercial commissions a few times a year, sometimes PR stuff. I need to deliver some video as part of the remit. The 5D Mark IV has better video functionality, right up to 4K. Who are these cameras for? Each one brings its own new strength that allows me to actually push that little bit further and do a little more. So each one will cover, like I said, practically everything I need to do, but they bring that extra little bit. So the 5DSR brings the extra resolution for when I need it. And the 5D Mark IV, for low light autofocus in practically nearly in the dark, there's nothing can touch it.